Hey everybody, and welcome to the Blizzard Watch podcast. I don't know why I'm talking like the DJ in a 70s overnight show. I'm Matt, I'm the host. I'm having flashbacks to my days DJing. With me are my fantastical co-hosts. None of them have been exposed to cosmic rays to my knowledge, but if that happens, please let me know and I will start mentioning your powers. First, I will introduce Joe Perez, the person who handles pretty much everything that makes us able to actually have this podcast right now. Hello, Joe.
Well, hey there.
I didn't say hello, Joe. And then he couldn't say hello, Joe. See how it is? I remembered finally. Also, another person who makes the show possible, not so much for the technical aspect as for we have a place to do a podcast because she keeps it going. Liz Harper, our editor-in-chief and overall Grand High Poobah, and I'm going to keep calling you that. Hi, Liz.
Howdy.
And finally, not always here, but always welcome, our other Liz. I don't want to constantly call you Antimatter Liz or Liz from Earth 2, so I'm just going to say Liz Pat, who is not Liz Harper, and hopefully everybody will follow that. So, hi Liz.
Hello, and I love those names. I want everyone to call me Antimatter Liz.
So the problem with the Antimatter Liz is it sounds an awful lot like the song, Mechanical Man, and I don't want to sing it right now, but it's, by Michael Cimbello, by the way. Automatic Man, I'm sorry. It's Michael Cimbello, the guy that wrote Maniac, the theme for Flashdance. He also wrote a song about a robot that falls in love. I do recommend you hear this song. Anyway, before I do an entire podcast about Michael Cimbello, let's talk about World of Warcraft, Diablo, and other Blizzard games, because that's what we technically do here. But first, Liz, Patreon stuff?
Okay, I had those notes towards the bottom of the show when I would prefer to do them. But
then that's fine. I'm sorry. That's my bad. Usually we do them now, but I totally accept that I am not fully focused. We can do them later. That's fine. This is me trying to convince myself it's fine. Hey, there's the notes. Okay. That's another problem. Is the notes don't go up to the top for me anymore, and I don't know why that is. We'll just move straight into Plunderstorm. World of Warcraft news. Plunderstorm's back. I think it's back as of today as we're recording, which is Tuesday the 14th? Today's the 14th?
Yes.
Okay. Somebody talked to me about Plunderstorm coming back. How long is it going to be?
Plunderstorm lasts through late February, and it just kicked off today after World of Warcraft had a 6-hour maintenance today, which was extended to an 8-hour maintenance, and then the servers came up and Plunderstorm was still not live due to technical difficulties, so that was a bit of a rocky start. I kind of felt like, they'll just push a button and it'll go live. That was not the case. I was foolish. I was foolish to think that. But Plunderstorm is live. It is pretty much like old Plunderstorm. I've read that there are supposed to be some new abilities. I haven't gotten a chance to go in and check that out because it actually launched like 5 minutes before we started recording. So there's that. The biggest change in Plunderstorm from our last Plunderstorm is that there's not a renown track. You will go in and, dive into a Wrathy on the back of a uncontrollable giant parrot and be murdered by other players. At least if you're me, I dive bomb in and I get killed. And you'll earn plunder. And you will use that to purchase things in the store, all of your piratical rewards. And that is, for me, at least, that's great, because, I wanted my pirate outfit, my coat, and my pirate hat, and you had to go really far down the renown track to get it. So I couldn't just play a little, I had to play a lot, and I was very bad at it. So it's back. You'll be able to pick and choose what rewards you want. Obviously, those rewards are going to be transmog for me. And I think it's good. It's not my favorite game mode to play, but it's there. I know a lot of people really enjoy it, and it's great that everyone has things that they really enjoy. That's the important part. That's why we play games.
Yeah, there's actually, there's range of costs for things. I want to mention this. Between cosmetic appearances, pets, mounts, other things like that, you can see a difference between, something can cost between 5,000 plunder and can cost maybe 250 plunder. So it depends entirely on what you're looking for, how much you'd have to play, as opposed to, I want this thing, which isn't that expensive, but in order to get there, I have to grind my renown all the way up, which means I would be playing this until I pass out every day for the next month. So yeah, that's definitely that's an adjustment I think any mode that you do like this in the future should have.
And so we haven't gotten a chance to play brand new, and we'll see how it develops and kind of how much plunder can you earn from a game, how much plunder you can earn from week, whether Blizzard has adjusted that a little, whether they've adjusted a lot, whether they haven't adjusted it at all. And certainly last time Plunderstorm was here, it was adjusted a lot over the course of the game, and it was really amped up right at the end before it was leaving so that everyone could rush in and get those last rewards. So even if it feels a little slow now, wait, there'll probably be some balance changes, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I can get my purple pirate outfit.
All right. I'm going to talk to Crisis on Infinite Liz for a second. So you wanted it. Turbulent Timeways, you mentioned on the pre-show that you're currently trying to level up alts through it. So are you trying to get the Bumblebee mount because the Buzzbee?
I am. It's precious and I love it.
So you have to play how many weeks? Like 5 weeks straight?
5 weeks out of 7. So there's a buff that you get for each time walking dungeon you run during the Turbulent Timeways event. Right now, we just started Warlords of Draenor week. We're coming out of Mists of Pandaria week. And when you run 4 dungeons, which gets a little confusing because the quest is to run 5 dungeons, the buff converts from this 2-hour experience buff that you've been increasing where you get 5%, then 10% additional XP. It converts to Master of the Timeways, I believe it's called, and that'll give you something like a 30% experience bonus. And you participate in 5 of the weeks, and that Master of the Timeways buff accrues across, or not accrues, but gets a point each week up to the 5 points, and that's what earns you the mount, as I understand it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the achievement right now, and Master of the Turbulent Timeways 2, it does seem to be what you got to do. Gain Mastery of Timeways for 5 weeks during a Turbulent Timeways 2, rewards Timely Buzzbee. So,
and I think, maybe you know better, Liz, I think you can do this on any character. You just need to get that
correct.
Buff, or do you need to... So that does make it a really good way to level alts. I plan to level my monk up, and, get moving on some of those alts that I said I was definitely leveling this expansion, and I then proceeded to not level at all.
No, go level your monk first off, because having an alt is always fun. I just finished leveling a Dark Iron Dwarf rogue, and I'm surprisingly having a blast playing Subtlety, which I have always enjoyed Outlaw, but the last time I tried Subtlety, the rotation was an absolute bear, and now I'm like, no, this is kind of fun.
all right, cool. Brain's like, say something. I'm like, I don't have anything to say about rogues. I don't know anything about them. They're fine. I don't know. Yeah, as long as that's fun. I'm going to say this. I'm a little disappointed that instead of taking pets away from marks, they didn't leave pets and marks, but give you dual wielding pets in Beast Mastery or something. I'm not sure. Maybe you could just have an extra thing.
You do in Beast Mastery.
And 4 of them then, man. I don't care. But regardless, I do think that that's cool that they have that buff and that they allow you to get a bee, because it's a cute bee. I just looked at it. Very cute. It's not an acute bee. It's just a cute bee. But I think I have a similar bee. I'm pretty sure I have the honey one.
There's a honeybee, there's a cinder bee, I think.
Yeah, I don't have the cinder bee.
And this is the Timely Buzzbee.
Yeah.
So it's got a little kind of bronze dragony feel to it. It has a mount.
Yeah, it's got that face thing on it.
Yeah.
It's wearing
it has an aesthetic.
That would be called a saddle.
Yeah, but saddle's on its face, man. It's got it's, how they with a horse they have a bridle and so forth. This thing has what looks like a metallic mouth on its face, which bees don't really have that thing going on. I'm just looking at the picture of it. In the game, it might not look like this, but the angle it was at, it looked like it has some kind of big bronze thing on it.
The tips of its proboscis and little tendrily things are bronzish, so I think that's making it look metallic.
Also, we now need to talk about WoW Classic. Cataclysm Classic Phase 4 is not launched yet. We kind of think it's coming at the end of the month, but
no. We thought it would be here. You know how we're always predicting when new phases are going to launch. Blizzard has been pretty consistent about phase launches, and they've been a little more wobbly with Cataclysm Classic. But we really thought that Phase 4 for Cataclysm would launch early this month, and now we're halfway through the month, and we haven't even heard anything about the next phase of Cataclysm Classic. And also, there's nothing after Phase 4 for Cataclysm Classic, and Mists of Pandaria Classic isn't until this summer, which does leave a kind of a gap there for players who enjoy Cataclysm. You can tell I'm not one of those players, but it's kind of going into a dead zone. They're going to get Phase 4, and then that's all. Whee!
And meanwhile, the Season of Discovery and Anniversary Realms are already on various phases.
Those are they're going at a crazy pace on the Anniversary Realms. Season of Discovery continues to do really great things. So before Mists of Pandaria Classic launches this summer, I think we're speculating it's going to be around July. Season of Discovery is going into Phase 7, which is Naxxramas. And Courage just went live there. It'll be doing Naxxramas probably in a couple months. And the Anniversary Realms are already in Phase 2. And over the course of the next few months, it'll be Phase 3, which is Blackwing Lair, and Phase 4, which is Zul'Gurub. Probably all of that is going to happen before Mists of Pandaria comes out. And then we have Cataclysm Classic, who has one last phase. And that's going to fill up like the next 6 months, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it does feel like it's surprising that they haven't announced more, considering how reliable their overall game plans have been this past 2 years at this point.
There really is so much going on in Classic now that on one hand, it's hard to fault them. They are doing a lot of stuff, but also it does feel like maybe did they forget about Cataclysm? I don't know.
Okay, so this Warcraft 30th Anniversary World Tour thing, that's what people are thinking might be the replacement for BlizzCon, or is it just a one-time thing, or what are we dealing with here?
We don't know.
We know that it's going to be in 6 cities, right? We know that much.
Yes. I mean, we know it's happening. We know it is a world tour at cities across the world. The first one is London on February 22nd, then Seoul, South Korea, March 8th, Toronto, Canada, March 15th, Sydney, Australia, April 3rd, Sao Paulo, Brazil on April 19th, and Boston on May 10th, coinciding with PAX East. So there will be an in-person event that's a little vague on what they're going to be, but they're promised to be intimate gatherings with live entertainment, Warcraft developers, and unique activities. So we don't know exactly what they are.
I do have a theory.
Yeah, go.
Loader, do you want to go first? Since
no, I want to hear your theory, and then I'll chime in.
So when they did the event, I believe it was at Gamescom. Someone might want to back me up. That they had like the sort of virtual roller coaster ride for Escape to Dalaran and kind of all those, anniversary celebration-y things. I think that's going to be part of it. I think this is how they're spreading it around the world, so to speak.
Joe?
What I was going to say is I have a friend who's going to the London one on February, and they're going to report back to me what it exactly is. And depending, I might try to go to the one in Toronto, because that is all of about an hour drive away from where.
Mm-hmm.
So
Boston's only a few hours from you too, though.
Boston's like 9 hours away, Matt.
Yeah, a few hours.
Canadian
Alberta. I drive 9 hours. I don't
number.
even get out of the province. It's like living up here, man.
Listen, I've told my horror story of driving to Boston. I'm not doing that again.
I might check out the one in Boston, because that is actually within a pretty easy drive of me now. It took reading about PAX East, and I was like, wait a second. I could drive to PAX East. This is no longer, like a plane trip, it just took a few minutes for that to sink into my head. So I might.
Oh yeah, you lived in Texas previously, living in New England.
Yeah, and Texas.
Yeah,
Texas is a little like Alberta, probably more than a little like Alberta, in that you have to drive like 9 to 12 hours to get outside of the state.
Yeah,
so
it's Alberta is like Alberta is a giant rectangle, so it's like you're just driving north forever. Now I'm apparently we're chasing the North Pole. I don't know, but yeah, no, Boston's not that far from any place in Connecticut. So yeah, that's not too bad. And for that matter, Toronto is not terribly far away from Buffalo by any means. He's not kidding. They're fairly close. You could easily drive there in an hour.
We could both go to the meetup, except that's probably like a 10-hour drive for me or a 12-hour drive.
It would probably be like a 10-hour drive, I would. But it's much
Somewhere in
closer
there.
to Buffalo.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we don't know what this is exactly. It sounds like it's going to be similar to the Gamescom thing that Liz P just mentioned. I don't know that it has any real impact on whether or not we're going to get a BlizzCon, except that I don't think we're getting one in 2025.
We're never getting a BlizzCon again.
Yeah, that seems likely. But we're not going to say that. We can't say that for absolute sure.
I think we can. I think if anything, Microsoft has proven to us that they're going to piggyback off of other existing things, or they're going to do their own Microsoft event, and I don't think that we're going to see a standalone BlizzCon again. Sorry, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. It's just the reality of it. Like, even looking at like CES 2025 just happened, and Microsoft was even there, right? Like, and they were even showing off their new stuff and showing off, oh, here's where Game Pass is. Here's all the games you can play on Game Pass. Did you know these Activision titles, Blizzard titles are on the Game Pass? Please play our Game Pass. So, like, I don't know that they're going to justify the money cost of it, because as fun as it was and as much as I love it and I really, 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 really want it, it's so expensive. And we even know from like talking with them in interviews in the past, they lost money on it, right? It earned goodwill and maybe long-term generated stuff, but you go to a corporate overlord and you say, I want to do this thing. And you say, well, how much money does it make? We lose money. No. Like, that's generally how I see those conversations going, especially with Microsoft, who, you know, isn't above just letting people go to make up costs.
Yeah, and we've already seen layoffs happening at Microsoft, layoffs happening at Blizzard after the acquisition. So, I don't know. Like Joe, I'd like to see another BlizzCon, but I feel like this event being the in-person event this year is very likely, and maybe we won't see any more BlizzCons.
That said, this potential thing with the 30th anniversary, depending on how it goes, what the scale of it is, what the cost of it is, a roaming smaller event is not necessarily a bad thing either. Giving you the ability to, you know, go to something closer to your home, not having to spend as much money to rent out the convention center at Anaheim, which that is expensive. It is super expensive. That is not a cheap city. Limiting the ticket costs. Like, I think the tickets for these are like, I think it's $100, give or take.
I think they're free.
Oh no, that's right. They're free. They're free, but they're the limited.
Are free.
Yeah, free but limited.
Yeah, and in fact, the first batch of them is already sold out. It is gone. They're doing a couple of more batches of ticket sales, but the first round is gone already.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I could see maybe smaller events like this maybe gaining traction, but the scale of BlizzCon is just so astronomically large.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that I'm crying, WoW subs give you a flying snake mount. Go on, talk about it, guys.
Yes, has anyone else claimed their flying snake? This is the new 6-month subscription reward. Have you flown around on the flying snake?
I tried for 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's kind of like those Mists of Pandaria dragons in that it's very whirly.
Ripply.
Didn't get it yet? Question mark.
There seems to be a problem with some of the claiming.
Yeah, like, do you have to you have to physically claim it from the store, right?
No. Well, at least for me, I logged on and it was in my collections. You know, it's wrapped up in its little box and you click the little box. Sometimes you log on to the Battle.net launcher and you'll see you have a gift thing up in the upper right.
I did that, but like, mine was just the Diablo stuff. I haven't seen anything with that.
So it did pop up today for me, but I believe they say it could.
Sorry, I say that it literally as we're talking about it, a red dot appears on my launcher.
So yeah, probably by the time everyone is listening to this, if you have a 6-month sub or a 12-month sub, you will probably have this mount. And in WoW Classic, there is a little tiny flying snake mount that you can pet. A tiny flying snake pet that you can get and play with in Classic. I mean, they're really cool looking. It's kind of like a wooden snake with gold and green accents. It's pretty rad. I don't know if I'm ever going to ride this, but it's pretty.
Well, we got to collect it. Must collect it.
Yeah.
The collection must
have the
collect all
things.
The collection must grow.
Okay, Diablo stuff. Obviously, Diablo 3 Season 33, it's ending for real now, January 19th, so in a few days as we're recording this. Then in about 5 days after that, on the January 24th, which is usually what they do, they end it, and then in 5 days, and then they start the next one. Season 34 is going to start. That's going to bring back the Lights Calling theme from Season 27. So you're going to have those angelic crucibles powering up. You remember it. But, well, maybe you don't, but that's what it's going to be. So yeah, that's cool to know. And what's interesting about that is that I didn't like the angelic crucible, so I'm a little sad about it. But, hey, other people did like it. And I'm always hoping that they'll also put in more treasure goblins. Like, just put in more treasure goblins constantly.
Yeah.
They should just always
more than Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Diablo 3, it's in maintenance mode. You could just quadruple the number of treasure goblin spawns all the time just for the heck of it.
Tell you what, there should be like an object that has like a reasonable drop rate, like say 50% chance. And when it drops, immediately treasure goblins, just hundreds of them all around you. And you have to try to kill as many as possible. And the more you kill, the more loot you get. Boom, we're done. I want to come out of this with like 35 billion gold on me. Come on, just let's go. But regardless, I am still excited to see. With the thing is, the angelic crucibles were around last time. You didn't have the capstone system, the extra level altar stuff that's in the game now. That was like a season theme, and then they turned it into a full-time forever thing.
Yeah, the altar of rights.
Yeah, and you didn't have the current changed Paragon system, which is still. It's basically the same Paragon system it's been for a long time now. But regardless, it wasn't there in Season 27. So I am curious to see how it works with the Angelic Crucibles, because there's some weird stuff in the Altar of Rights. But yeah, that's Season 27's theme, coming back on the Season 34. I've seen people confused about this. I was on the Diablo subreddit today, and I was reading it, and people were like, I don't get it. This game is done, right? What's the deal with the seasons changing? And I was like, okay. It's the original. It's previous seasons themes. They just bring them back. That's just the seasons just repeat now. It's again, as Liz said, it's maintenance mode. And some people really don't seem to understand this. So I'm going to say it again. It's basically like playing mix and match with seasons. They go in and they find a season theme they feel like doing, and it just happens. That's it. There's not going to be any new ones.
Yeah.
It's just ones we've already had.
And it's actually a pretty small pool because seasonal themes didn't start until season
16?
14?
No, 14, right.
Yeah. And which I think was actually Season of Greed.
Oh, it was. We got a post.
Matt's never forgetting this.
Yeah, I'm never forgetting it. There was the moment that Diablo 3 seasons went from, is it a season, to what? Okay.
Exactly.
Can I play now? Can I start now? Where are they? Where are the goblins?
And 3 of those seasonal themes between 14 and 30 became permanent changes in the game. You've got the Altar of Rights. You've got
Whispers.
The windows that open, the portals that open, and you run through, and you do all sorts of stuff, and the Echoing Nightmares.
Yes. Okay. Echoing Nightmares.
And the follower rework was a theme.
Yeah, that's true. There was a season that was just about the follower rework. So yeah,
exactly.
There's only about 10 or 11 of them that you could really do.
And when you're doing them pretty consistently every 12 to 13 weeks, for a year, you're going to rotate through that really quickly, guys.
Especially if they start doing that thing where they add another season in at the same time, which they've talked about. So if they start doing that, forget it. But yeah, that's how it works. It's not, it's not a really major concern. Just it's like playing the game. You don't have to worry too much about, what's the next season theme? It's going to be something we've seen before.
Yeah. I mean, did you miss a reward from season 16 or season 19? You can get them now because we're looping the rewards back around in addition to looping around the seasonal themes. Mm-hmm. The difference is that the rewards are looping consecutively, and the seasonal themes are more following the Jeremy Bearimy style of time from The Good Place.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I was going to say it's sort of like, okay, everybody pick a number between 1 and 10. You're all wrong at 6. But that's how I feel. But
it's
since we're talking
dartboard.
Talking about seasons, since we have been, let's talk about Diablo 4 Season 7, because that's starting next week. And we finally have this giant post that they did telling us what it's going to be. Although we kind of already knew it was going to be a season of Witchcraft.
Yeah, we knew the basics.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed they didn't stick with calling it the Season of the Witch so that they could secure the song and throw out another 15-second stinger that was an absolute banger and confused everybody.
Yeah, well, that is unfortunate. But I'm sure they'll find another way to confuse everybody. But we do have a lot of updates for this season. I'm looking at the handy infographic, actually. I'll just say this. I like the infographic. Thank you for an infographic, guys. Apparently, this time around, the Tree of Whispers in Diablo 4 has lost its heads. Not all of them, but some of the heads have escaped. I don't know. Go ahead, Liz.
I was thinking, it's a tree covered in undead heads. This is like necromancer catnip. Why haven't necromancers already stolen half of these heads and run off with them?
Well, the implication is that it's nasty stuff happens to people who mess with the heads.
But you're hanging. The heads are right there on the tree.
This is just telling you that if I ever have a tree full of heads, don't let Liz anywhere near it.
No, don't.
She's stealing my heads. I caught those guys. I made a deal with that dude.
This is necromancy 101. Come on.
Look what happened to Elias, though.
Yeah, he ended up on the tree. Maybe he got loose. Maybe that. Ooh, that would be interesting. We find Elias, and now we have him as a gem or something.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, there are occult gems from the seasons. They're socketable. They look weird. I'm not sure why they have these graphics for them. Go ahead, Liz. I'm sorry.
It's actually, the heads are really creepy because some of them have been stolen from the tree or escaped from the tree. I'm not totally clear on that, but they're stealing bodies and attaching themselves to various things. And some of these looks are very creepy. You'll be fighting the head rotten. Am I right, Liz? That's what we're calling them.
Yeah, and they're birthed out of occasional root pods, which is even weirder, and I kind of love it.
It is Diablo, so it is gross and creepy and weird and unsettling.
Yeah, all those things you want in a Diablo game. I don't want them in my life. I don't want, if anyone starts stealing my tree heads, I'm going to be upset. Stay away from my tree. But no, there's certainly it does feel an awful lot like there would be a lot of people trying to steal heads from this tree, to gain their magical secrets. So, especially if the heads all remember them or whatever.
There's also been, this group of witches in Hawazar who are, I don't want to say bonded to the tree. They don't serve the tree, but they work with the tree. And their coven is supposed to be in charge of, the magic of Hawazar. And the trade-off is that they protect the tree and the captive heads. So they're our allies in this season, and they have some opinions about the fact that, their charges have gone missing, so to speak.
That's a fair point. Don't take the tree's heads. The whole thing's freaking me out. But I do actually
Today we learned Matt has a tree of heads, and you should all be very worried about stealing from him.
No, I'm just thinking about getting one because it sounds like a good, we just got rid of our Christmas tree, and now there's a space in the living room, and I'm like, I don't like Christmas all that much, but I liked having a tree up, and now there's no tree. And what is my cat going to get into?
I was about to say your animals would be absolutely delighted. Instead of, breakable glass ornaments, you have skulls.
My cat would be thrilled. The thing is that he's scared of his own shadow, but he also likes to cause mayhem. So he would jump into that tree, immediately be afraid, jump out of the tree, knock the tree over, heads everywhere. I'm positive he would do that in his first day. Anyway, though, we should actually talk a little bit about some of the stuff going on. There's the whispers that the tree, whispers gives. They're going to be more powerful, essentially. There's better rewards for some of them as part of this. The armory is apparently, they're updating it, or it's in. Is it not in yet?
It's not in yet. It'll be in next week. Yeah. And this should work very similarly to the Diablo 3 one.
I would hope.
With a few, the way the Paragon system works is different between the two games. So there's going to be a little, aesthetic difference, but functionally it behaves the same.
Yeah, there's also going to be the welcome back boosters. class quest updates and the greater affix update. That's all good. Nice. The welcome back booster they already have, so I don't know
Yeah.
if it's going to be better.
I feel like Blizzard is just advertising this to remind you, please come back and play Diablo 4.
Which,
Please, you guys.
they've never been shy about that kind of thing. So, growth and decay, which means there's a poison frog servant you can get, I guess. I don't know what that means. Like, why do we have a poison frog? But I'm not opposed to it.
I can at least explain a little bit of that, which is that a lot of these powers are going to look incredibly familiar. I think we talked about this when they first announced the seasonal theme, and that's they're very similar to some of the power set of the Witch Doctor in Diablo 3, despite the fact that I think they're supposed to be different groups. The Witches of Hawazar and the tribe the Witch Doctor derives from is supposed to be from Nahantu, I think. So, the power set is going to look a lot like that, which is one of the reasons why you'll see a legendary power on there that is the Piranado, literal tornado of piranhas.
Yeah, that's one from the Witch Doctor. I do remember that. And, I was happy about it. Now I'm kind of hoping they do this over and over again. Like the next season will be the season of the Crusader or something. And we get weird Crusader
That would
powers.
be incredible. That would be so incredible, especially like tying in with the kind of the loose end that was the, I can't remember, the burned knight from Bravo's
right.
church.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Mr. I've literally, been defeated in one fight and fallen off the planet.
Yeah.
He's
I don't remember.
right
I
now.
don't remember.
He is the major bad guy that doesn't even last one fight in Vessel of Hatred, which is fine because it's Mephisto that's really interesting there. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Guy who smokes wood. I remember when Joe told me that he's just smoking a piece of wood. And
Yeah,
I'm like, really?
Matt's like, it's a cigar. I'm like, no, look at it. It's just a coal. it's a hunk of wood that's on fire.
So odd. Most people when they've been burned, which I don't know if you've ever experienced a large burn on your body. I haven't since I was a small child. It's not a great experience.
No,
so,
it's traumatic.
More power. Yeah, more power to you for embracing it, but you embraced it in the single creepiest way.
Well, part of the problem
the
is
Diablo aesthetic.
As a guy who got third-degree burns on both of his legs when he was 15, burning is painful and awful. Don't do it. But also, people who get burned on their face generally inhale a lot of smoke.
Yeah,
and burn their lungs, and you're not then to do it more. He's literally inhaling burning wood. It's not the same.
Yeah,
as
but I mean,
guys.
in his mentality, he survived the burning hells and came back as the lone survivor, so he can live through anything. This is a symbol of how he was chosen to lead the Church of Light into the new tomorrow. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually kind of warming up even more to Liz's idea that he should come back as a villain in some season of the Crusader, just so we can hit him again.
I want to hit him again. He was a jerk. He scared a lot of people. He chopped off my dude's arm.
Listen,
he stabbed you in the back.
We are literally in the world of Diablo where the dead are raised regularly. It's fine. He will be back.
Yeah, but there's also more legendaries apparently, more uniques. So yay for that.
Each
more
class
runes.
gets at least one of each.
I don't really care about the battle pass things on the bottom here, but season journey, which I usually do. I just don't do the battle pass. So yeah, Witchcraft powers. I'm actually really interested to see how many Witch Doctor powers we get. Like I'm sure they've got a thing somewhere talking about it, but actually, yeah, they do. Allied with the Coven. Here they are, looking all Coven-y. Hi guys. They really seriously look. There's a picture of three of them standing next to each other. They look absolutely done with everybody's. Hearthstone StarCraft mini set for the Great Dark Beyond is coming next Tuesday, January 21st. Apparently, there's going to be a normal version of the mini set for $20 USD.
That's pretty normal. That there's a standard version of the mini set, and then there's a version that is all gold, where all the cards are golden, so you can show off and be fancy and spend more money.
Yeah, and definitely can spend more money.
Yeah, but this is like I should clarify, the StarCraft mini set for the Great Dark Beyond is a larger mini set. This has more cards than a traditional mini set. So it will be $20 or 2,500 gold for the basic mini set, or $8 or 12,000 gold for the golden mini set, and that's a lot, guys.
I mean, it made
That's
me
a
think there
lot.
was a lot when I saw it because it's like that's a game. That's a
Yeah, that
whole
is
game.
the cost. That is the cost of a normal expansion, maybe a little less than a normal expansion with the fancy bundle.
That
Yeah.
was the middle of the road bundle from Vessel of Hatred, is what that was.
Yeah, about $80 USD. That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So wow.
yeah. So it's that's just a big price tag for a mini. And I mean, I like the mini sets because they are just a single purchase, and you can buy them with in-game currency that you just earn by playing the game. That is awesome. But also, this big price tag. This is a sizable price tag. You can also, so the theme of the mini set is StarCraft. You have all of your StarCraft characters in Hearthstone now. And if you want to, you can choose to just buy like one set, if that makes sense. Like if you just want to play with the Zerg, you could just buy the Zergs for all of the Zerg cards for $10 or 1,200 gold. It's a better deal to do the $20, 2,500 gold, and you just get everything. That's my thinking. But
And the looks are being rolled out this week, right?
this launches on January 21st, so that's next week. So it's very soon.
Right.
But by the time you listen to this, you can probably buy it, or you can probably buy it in a couple days. So they're cool cards, but $80 is that's a large number of dollar dues.
Yeah, that was surprising. It's kind of like I went for a second there, especially since I had to do the conversion in my head.
But
like, oh god, it's even worse when you're in Canada.
It is a very cool mini set, and it fits really well with the space-themed Great Dark Beyond expansion that we're currently in. So you get your alien Zerg cards, you get your high-tech Protoss cards, which fit really, really well with the Draenei, and you get your Terran cards, which are a lot of robots. The previews we've shown have shown off a lot of mechs. So that's going to fit in really nicely with a lot of decks. I think all of the cards look really interesting. I think it's good. I'm just kind of whoa about the high price of the all golden mini set.
But next thing to move on to is since we've pretty much covered all the basic Blizzard stuff that we had, Liz had put a thing in here about AGDQ, which we talked about briefly on the pre-show. That's awesome. Games Done Quick, which is essentially for charity, right? This year it was Prevents Cancer Foundation.
Yes, it's for different charities every year. And yes, it just wrapped up. And it was super fun. They're all super fun. I mean, that's not a surprise.
I am amazed that somebody decided to do Ori and the Blind Forest. Not that that's bad.
They're going to play everything at AGDQ.
Well, yeah, there's the Turok one and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers one. That those aren't surprises to me. I don't know why Ori is. I think it's because Ori is really... I don't know. It feels like it's kind of a game that either you know about it and love it. I love watching it. I don't love playing it. But
there are a lot of obscure games in AGDQ. Joe, I know you were watching it. Did you have any favorites this year?
Do we have
favorite
time?
Streams? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we got like 10 minutes.
No, I have there's a couple that really stood out to me that I really enjoyed. One was Bullets Per Minute, BPM. It's a game that I really, really enjoy. That I was really happy to see showcase because I love rhythm games and a rhythm FPS shooter. I've talked about this before on the podcast. Like, I love this game. Absolutely just astonishing. The other one that I absolutely love is Dr. Doot. Dr. Doot plays Souls-like games with an electronic saxophone. And if you ever watch one of Dr. Doot's streams, he will also take like different audio clips, and because it's an electronic saxophone, change it so that the saxophone will make those sounds instead of the normal. And at least for this run, if you pay attention to it, it's literally saying doot. So every time he blows through the mouthpiece and hits a button, it's doot, 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 doot. Absolutely phenomenal. I love watching alternate controller runs of games, especially when there's speed runs or things like that. They get me on like such a weird level. Like, I'm just transfixed by it. And the other one that I was really excited to see, because it just came out like 6 months ago, was Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. And if you remember Super Monkey Ball from the era of like the GameCube, it's a return to that where it's very quick platforming, very twitchy like setups that like you launch yourself from across the map and hope that you get it. And watching the precision with which people do that, it's phenomenal. And it reminds me of when like I was in college and we were playing Super Monkey Ball and trying to do that stuff before we even knew speedrunning was a thing. Like, it was never a thing. We're just like, how much of this can I skip? Can I launch my monkey into space and maybe hit the goal? Sweet, let's do this. So I was really excited to see that. A lot of really, really, really good games and phenomenal speedruns throughout the entirety of it. And all of them are available on YouTube now. So if you didn't get a chance to watch them live, you can go ahead and do so. And fun thing, they updated the website. If you go to the Games Done Quick schedule right now, if you click find the one you want to watch, they have the link directly underneath it for the YouTube video. So you don't have to search through the playlist at YouTube. You can literally go that way if you want to. So highly recommended. 10 out of 10. Go do the thing.
So the one that really stood out for me was New Super Mario Brothers, which was New Super Mario Brothers while playing a piano. Which, it was not that he was controlling his character with the piano, he was just playing a piano for an added layer of difficulty on top of speedrunning the game. So he had like a Wiimote on his head and he would like bob left and right to like move. And yes, and he had another one under his foot to press buttons. So he's doing this while playing his own soundtrack on piano. The whole thing was flawless. It was incredible.
That sounds magical.
Did you see the Crazy Taxi one?
I saw the Crazy Taxi one where they were playing Crazy Taxi with a live backing band. It was a little awkward because he was speedrunning through the levels, and it's like every time he got to the end, they would abruptly stop playing the song. And then if starting a new level, they would abruptly start again. Yeah,
like the Phil, who occasionally joins us on the podcast, made a tweet or a skeet or whatever they're called now. I don't know.
It's a tweet. A tweet.
It's a post on Blue Sky that, and I can get 100% behind this. Let's do a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 speedrun with a live backing band. And my response was, only if it has a full horn section. And I want this so badly. I want to see a live speedrun with a full ska band with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 being the soundtrack. Let's go. I want this so badly. Give it to me, please.
Submit the run for next year.
I am so sad no one's mentioned Squirrel with a Gun yet.
Yeah, that was part of the awful block, and I think that was at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I've watched the videos. I wasn't watching at the time.
Yeah, the entire awful block is beautiful and
it's a train wreck. You can't look away.
Superman 64, guys. Do you remember Superman 64? No, of course you don't, because any good sane mind or even a crazy mind would have blocked it out, because it is by far the worst Superman game ever made, and there aren't many good ones.
I believe they also played it at 20% of the normal screen size because they were doing a vote to see which scaling they would play it at, and what they did was 20%.
There it is. Yep.
It's I don't know, it's comedic genius maybe.
It's actually better at this very small, because at regular size what you end up with is all that green fog everywhere because supposedly the area is covered in kryptonite gas. And instead at this size you can't tell what's going on, which is infinitely better.
While flying through rings, because you have to get through the rings.
Yeah,
I still remember like the vast majority of people who played this game as a kid never made it past the first stage, because what are you supposed to do? Thanks,
You
Lex.
can't even see the rings because of all the green stuff. Yeah, no, it's terrible. So I am amazed at a lot of these, but I really do love that Squirrel with a Gun got played, because man, Squirrel with a Gun.
They gotta fill 24 hours in the day. I also watched the Silent Hill 2 remake, which Mitch thoroughly recommended. So I was watching that in the horror block, and I have never played Silent Hill 2. I do not really play horror games. They aren't very horrible in AGDQ because you're speeding through them. But I was not prepared for how weird this was. And then you get to the end and there's just a dog wearing headphones that you steer it.
Dog
yeah,
ending.
they did the dog ending.
That's a hard
and I'm
ending
like,
to get, is the thing. They had to do really well to get the dog ending.
Well, they had to do very
watched
specific
this
things, but
and
yeah.
I watched this and I did not understand anything, and I feel having watched it, I now know even less about Silent Hill 2. Like,
yes.
I understand less having seen it.
The Billy Madison effect. Understood.
Yeah, that's the thing about Silent Hill is a game franchise that if you stop to think about it too long, it's almost like trying to think about a Tesseract as a fourth dimensional object.
Yeah, we don't have time to talk about the intricacies of Silent Hill. We can one day, because I have thoughts. I think I have a dissertation I recite about the games.
Okay, at this point, therefore, I think, Liz, now you can finally talk about that. Oh, no, we have questions. We can actually do a couple questions here.
I just want to start off talking about Blizzard Watch is made possible by Patreon supporters, and we are still trying to hold the line at about $4,000 a month. We are a little under that. If anyone is able to support us financially, we love you. Thank you so much. You make this site possible. I did want to thank Nathan this week, who upgraded his pledge to $5 a month. That gives you early access to these podcasts and also an ads-free site experience. So it's pretty great. If you love the podcast, you can get it without ads. You can get it a little early. You can get our pre-show for the Blizzard Watch podcast, which is always a little random, always a surprise. So thank you all for listening, supporting us if you can. And also, I want to remind you all, too, if you like our tabletop games, to subscribe to the Tavern Watch podcast feed. It's on its own podcast feed now, so it's very important that if you like that stuff, you go and subscribe to it. It should be on all of your podcast players of choice right now. So hop over and do that. We just finished our game of Sentai and Sensibility. Third episode just went out, so you can go and enjoy all of that. And I believe we're going to have our Starfinder game starting this week, and hopefully even more for you to enjoy. So subscribe to that if you are interested. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support, everyone.
Okay, I'm going to do some of these questions so we actually get a chance to talk about some things. This one is known I don't really have a dog in the fight, so I'm really excited to ask it. This is from Daikaiju. I'm still not on board with removing pets from MM. If we're supposed to be ranged killers, how do we keep our target at range when solo? Somebody who plays a hunter a lot, please talk.
Well, so back in ye olden days, we did this thing called kiting. And it was a core mechanic that you had to do in order to get your epic bow. And it was the only... So, in all honesty, like, it's one of those things where I understand people talk about this all the time, but marksman hunters for me have always been sort of a sniper analog. And back in the original days of vanilla WoW, and I see you in chat, Daikaiju, and I agree with you, but bear with me. Hang out with me here while I go on this ride. In the original days, while certain things did kind of, they were bad, you were essentially in a moment where you could, if you were a Night Elf Hunter, the one-shot sniper kill, how many times did you stealth, aim shot, completely one-tap, anything below plate armor at epic gear, right? And there's always this fantasy with marksman, at least in my brain, that it's one of those things where it could lean further into that sort of sniper mentality. Hit and move, don't be seen. Hit and move, don't be seen. Hit and move, don't be seen. I understand that pets are sort of integral to the class as far as a whole. Believe me, I've been playing a hunter for as long as since vanilla. But there are plenty of ways to justify not having one as marksman. Not everybody is going to be happy about it. Not everybody is going to enjoy it. But I mean, in current day, and even in historical, snipers didn't have pets to keep people at bay either, and they still did it. There's plenty of historical documents and texts about, sniping archers that did exactly this type of thing, where, they would hit, move, and stuff like that. It's one of those things where I understand where people are coming from it. I don't like when things get taken away from classes most of the time, but I think it's easily justifiable in context of everything else.
I think if we, and this is, now kind of become the older model, if they were trying to tie it into a clear class fantasy, that may have been embraced a little more than
I don't think it would be.
No, we're taking a thing away. I foolishly have hope.
Let's be honest, and we I think we're all guilty of this, or at least every single one of us. When they take stuff out of game, we have a visceral reaction to it, especially if it's been there forever. And I think what this honestly is them trying to find a way to make the 3 specs feel distinctly different, which, to be honest, for a very long time, they didn't, until they made survival a melee spec. Survival just felt like worse marksman for a lot of ways. Marksman felt like beast mastery with less beast. So like I understand that they're trying to give that unique feature. This reminds me a lot
25% less beast in your beast mastery.
Yeah. But this reminds me a lot of when they were doing this with mages, right? Because mages and warlocks, even, their specs had so much bleed over that it was really like they weren't just a frost mage. They were a frost mage throwing fire, or they were a fire mage throwing frost bolts. And there's still a little bit of that, but when they rebalanced everything and removed everything around, they tried to lean heavier into the individual stuff like that. I mean, heck, I still know that there are people that are still salty about demon hunters getting metamorphosis and a bunch of other stuff that was traditionally warlock adjacent, right? It was warlock core abilities. So I get what they're trying to do. I just don't know that you do it and are able to make everybody happy.
I think I'd like to see it, like, personally, because I'm absolutely wretched at marksman. I actually weirdly enjoy survival, but I would like to see it as...
Every time somebody says that, I get a kickback, by the way.
I would like to see it as a passive call kind of thing. Like you don't control the pet, but you still have a pet there, because I think of Hunter as a pet class. Like I think of Warlock as a pet class. So it's a little disorienting to me to take that away.
Like I said, no dog in the fight. Liz, do you have an opinion?
Nah, I don't really play hunters.
Okay, we've got time for one more. What object, this is from Tetsemi, by the way. Hi, Tetsemi. Tetsemi asked us a lot of questions. What object, event, and/or NPC needs to just go away and never be... Come on, go away, anonymous copyright. I can't read this. Wow, okay. Needs to never be... I can't tell what this line is, because there's that thing there. Never be heard from again. Okay, oof. The one that gives you the grimace face whenever it comes up. So does anyone get the grimace face from anything like that in this game?
Citizens of Dalaran, turn your eyes to the sky.
I was going to point to somebody else, but Joe just leapt out of there, so I think we found Joe.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. That's immediately what I think of with that. Like I could never hear that again, and I'll be a happy camper.
Okay. Joe doesn't want a dead guy to yell anymore in a dead city about a thing that's been.
Yeah,
done
I mean, technically,
years.
I think I've already got my wish, so I'm good. So.
Liz P.
Oh, this is a complicated one, because my first thought was and I know there are a lot of gamers that find these hilarious. I would like to never do another searching through the poop quest ever.
Yeah.
I was nodding my head the whole
Ever.
time because I knew that's what it was going to be, and I'm like, yeah.
Thank you. But I would also do so similar to what Joe said. I would do away with the global announcements, because
Yeah, it's a bit much.
at a certain point in Dragonflight, I was thrilled. I was thrilled for all the evokers. After about the 55th time, I wanted to claw someone's eye out. I found it so annoying.
Okay, Liz doesn't like global announcements. And poop
The ice stone has melted.
I'm
The
totally
ice
down
stone
with
has
normal
melted.
poop quests.
The ice stone has melted. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Matter Liz, I guess. If she's anti-matter Liz, you have to be matter Liz. Anything comes to mind?
I mean, on the subject of global announcements, is Blizzard ever going to get rid of that thing where when you log on, it lists a whole bunch of new titles that you just earned, and it also does that the next time you logged on, and the next time you log on, and the next time you log on?
Yep. And occasionally it changes your achievement dates.
Yeah, I assume it's a bug.
This is the
been
price we
around
pay
for a while at this point.
This is the price we pay for a functional Yogg Saron.
Has anyone checked on Yogg lately?
Yes.
Do we know?
Yes, yesterday. He's still working. It's working as expected.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. really, really, the one character that I could deal with never meeting again is Garrosh, and I'm hopeful that we are now never meeting him again. I dearly hope we never meet him again. It just got old. That got old.
I'm pretty sure his Force Ghost is even dead. I think we're good there.
Yeah, I hope so. But this is like comic book logic. If they want someone to come back, they can invent a way. So I hope they. So
we change Garrosh's name to Uncle Ben, and then he can never come back.
Uncle Ben comes back.
Matt.
Anyway, I was just thinking about what I would say to this, and I'm not sure if this is something anybody else would care about. Like, I think maybe I'm the only one that cares about this particular thing being in the game, but I don't ever want to see an escort quest again until they've come up with a way to make escort quests not the worst thing in the universe. Because even with the modern game with like much better AI and a much better, still you're on an escort quest and people immediately run face first into their deaths. And I'm done. Please don't ever put me on one of these things again. And you can say, well, they've changed the game so much. Even the ones they introduced later, like the Cataclysm one with the two bros and the wagon, still constantly, why is he over there? Why is she over there? Why are there monsters everywhere eating both of them? I can't save both of them. Why did they break up? Why did they split up? I have no idea why that happened. So yeah, escort quests. They can just be done and I can never see them again and I'll be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
If you get trapped in a place and I come in to save you, you just vanish. You're like, thank you for letting me out of the cage. Poof. That's what I want.
You don't want Corky anymore? Come on.
Joseph.
I'm just glad.
You brought up Corky?
Yeah.
Why would you do this to me, Joseph?
Yeah.
I'm going to go cry now. You guys finish up the show.
I'm just glad to never have to escort Marshall Windsor around ever again.
Oh my God.
Never again.
Never.
Marshall Windsor really wanted to die. Oh my word, that guy. We had to bring a raid group in one point to keep Marshall Windsor from dying because this new guy had just joined the guild and he was like, I can't keep Marshall Windsor alive. And next thing I know, there's like 8 people in there just murdering everything and Marshall Windsor still got killed. Like, how did he get killed? What killed him? There's nothing left alive in this place.
Sometimes NPCs pray for death. Other times they actively run towards it.
I think at this point, though, we are pretty much done with the show. Liz, you already handled the site announcement stuff, right?
We might want to say another advantage you get is being able to ask us questions. We do take questions from everybody. We are very happy if you leave us a question in the Discord Q and podcast questions channel. But if you are a Patreon supporter, you can also leave us a question in the Patreon Q and podcast Discord channel. And we do give a little bit of preference to our supporters. You can also leave us questions on Patreon itself. You can leave a question on any of our podcast posts and we will see it. And we are very happy to take your questions. Thank you so much for your support.
At this point, Joe, you don't have to do your thing, do you?
No, I don't. Liz already did it for me. Sweet!
So, yeah, this has been the Blizzard Watch podcast. Joe gets to sit over there making me feel bad about Corky for some more. I cannot believe you mentioned Corky. I'm going to thank Liz and Liz, too. Both
that's what we call her in
I
guild.
gotta come up with better names. Liz and Liz too, thank you both for being here. Joe, thank you for the nightmares you've given me. And everyone who's here with us, thank you for allowing us to have a podcast at all. This has been the Blizzard Watch podcast, and we'll be back hopefully next week.